So
I'm sorry.
I think that, you know, people that want the government to endorse their brand of religion, they don't seem to get what they're asking for. But, you know, if people are really hell-bent on living in a theocracy, tell them to move to Saudi Arabia, you know. They got a theocracy there. They'll hook them up. Of course, you know, the argument will be, well, that's not my religion, but that's the beauty of a theocracy. You don't actually get to pick the religion you have to practice.
Well, the interesting thing here is with all the corruption and the scandal in the courthouse, these judges have been taken out, these people, recently the county commissioner admitted that he took a bribe and everything, and I'm the one standing out doing the right thing, upholding the law, making the arguments, and I'm being lambasted for doing the right thing. And more people are apparently concerned more about this nativity scene than the juveniles getting arrested and put into prison.
Yeah, and I did hear about that case with the juveniles getting arrested and imprisoned because of the kickbacks to the judges. Did you aware of that?
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, the story on that, I'll just summarize it really briefly. The story on that is that there were a couple of judges that were overseeing juvenile cases, and there were lots of juvenile cases coming up that should have been, you know, the defendants should have had probation or some lesser penalty because it was a first offense or it was pretty minor. Instead, the judges were remanding them to this private correctional facility. And later it turned out that the judges had a financial interest in these private correctional facilities, and they got a kickback for everybody they sent to prison.
Nice.
So, and these were, yeah, it would be bad enough if these were adult offenders, but these were juveniles, and so it was a pretty traumatic experience for a lot of the kids.
Yeah, so how about the good Catholic values there? They say, oh, the courthouse religion is Catholic, and
absolutely.
we uphold these rights and everything. So those are great Catholic values.
Well, and if these guys are Catholic, then, you know, if you look at that, and we had, you know, the priest sex abuse scandal here in the U.S., and now that whole abuse scandal in Ireland has come to light, you know, and this, you know, I really don't think they can make a good case for good Catholic values these days.
Well, thanks a lot for calling, Justin. I appreciate what you're doing up there. And I don't know, do you run a blog or anything where you post these things?
Yes, I do run a blog. It's called greenatheist.blogspot.com. I'm also a member of the NEPA Free Thought Society. We're going to have our meeting next week, the day after Christmas. And that's going to be quite interesting because people have said, oh, we're going to come down and protest, and we're going to talk to you, we're going to set you straight, and everything like that. So if there are any callers from Pennsylvania and they want to attend the meeting, you're more than welcome to attend.
Get a video camera.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There have already been a lot of protests at the courthouse. A lot of people out for like 3 hours stopping traffic. You know, it's really ridiculous. It's getting crazy.
Well, thanks a lot for keeping us updated, and feel free to call back in, you know, after Christmas is over. Let us know how your meeting went, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Justin. Right. We got Michael in California.
Hey, what's up, Matt?
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you, Jen?
Not bad.
Hey, I'd just like to say about 2 callers ago, that guy was saying that the girl had the shirt, put the Christ back in Christ Mass. That's like saying put the wedding back in Wednesday. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about in Uganda. There's a bill being proposed. It's like an anti-gay bill, the death penalty for anybody.
Oh, it's not just an anti-gay bill; it's a kill the gays bill.
Yeah.
It's the death penalty for anybody.
Not everybody who's gay, just people who are caught being gay and test positive for HIV.
Yeah.
It's kill the HIV people.
Yeah, it's heartless, deplorable, horrible stuff. And I was surprised to learn.
We seem to have lost him.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, Michael, for whatever reason we seem to have lost you. For those people who aren't familiar, we talked about it quite a bit yesterday on the Nonprofits, so if you want to go check out that show, we talked about it in great detail, including the link to the C Street family.
Yeah.
There is a bill in Uganda, and we went over the specifics of it, that is basically a let's kill people who are HIV positive and gay. Mm-hmm. And included in the bill is something akin to, if you know somebody who's gay and HIV positive and you fail to report them, you get penalized. I mean, that's the type of witch hunt thing that we're talking
Yeah.
about here. And
Well,
it
and-
was originated by somebody in that C Street family here in the United States.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that bill is that they've elevated homosexuality, because it's not just if you're gay and HIV positive. If you're gay, just if you have gay sex, however you define that, you can be imprisoned for like 3 years. And if you're gay and HIV positive, then you can be imprisoned for like life or get the death penalty.
Yep.
So it's a pretty draconian bill. Not only that, if you go somewhere else where it's not illegal to be gay and you have gay sex and somebody finds out about it, then they're supposed to turn you in and you're supposed to be extradited to Uganda. So they basically elevated this to a criminal offense equivalent to treason. And it's just, I mean, the mind boggles. You just can't imagine why they would do this. Except, of course, they are desperate to do something about HIV, and, you know, blaming it on the gay people is a pretty convenient scapegoat. But anyway, it's been all over the news. Rachel Maddow's been covering it extensively. She's got a lot of good stuff on there, including the connection to the family on C Street. And fortunately, a lot of the recent news coverage has put some pressure on people, legislators who've had connections to the family, and they've actually started to speak out about it. Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, we talked, I'm not going to go through this whole thing again. We discussed Rick Warren's comment about this on yesterday's show.
Yeah.
For a second, I was really proud of him, and then he turned out to be just the same old prick he always is. So.
Yeah.
We've got Jeff in Dallas.
Yes, hello.
How are you, Jeff?
I'm wonderful. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
I just wanted to touch on something really quick. Something I've been wanting to talk about for a while is belief, and whether or not, because a lot of people will talk about how you choose not to believe or you choose to believe a certain thing, and I've always complained that belief isn't necessarily a choice. It's not something you can really choose to believe, as far as like truthfully. And kind of wanted to get your opinion on whether or not it's based on your personal experience, or whether it's something you've been taught, or whether something that you've seen or experienced may be evidence for you, and maybe that's why it's caused you to believe in something, and maybe you can kind of shift one way or the other.
I completely agree. I don't think it's in any way a simple exercise of will or a simple choice as to what you believe. I've talked about this a number of times, and if you go to the ACA website and go to the lecture series and navigate down that page a little bit, you'll find a lecture that I gave on belief. I think that I addressed the issue of whether or not belief is subject to free will in there, but since I've talked about it so many times, I'll let Jen give her thoughts on it.
Yeah, I actually completely agree that belief is not subject to will. And of course, the example that we give all the time is if you believe that gravity is an illusion, and you jump off the roof of your house, you'll break a leg or injure yourself in some way. But, I mean, most people understand that, so anybody that claims gravity is an illusion and they're going to jump off the house in response to that, we probably want to have them evaluated for a psychological disorder, because most people have direct experience with this. They know how gravity works. You can't just choose not to believe in it.
Correct. I agree completely, and that's been kind of the situation I've kind of gone through, is that people will tell me, well, why can't you just, try to believe? It's like, well, I can't force myself to. It's not, I can't just make myself believe in something.
And so people say, oh, well, I believe in God because, I've witnessed miracles. It's like, well, okay, that may be a rational reason for you to believe, but why would I accept that? I've never seen a miracle. Why would I accept your claim that some miracle happened? So, I can't simply just disregard my entire life's experience and choose to believe that someone else's miracle is valid.
Yeah, The shortest path or shortest explanation I can come up with is, to me, belief is acceptance that a claim is true, and acceptance is the result of being convinced. Now, you can be convinced for good reasons or bad reasons, but I am not convinced that you can be convinced simply by an exercise of will.